Hey guys, it's your boy Steven here with BSM. That stands for Bruno Sports and More. Today's video I wanted to particularly touch on the rumored fight coming up that could happen probably this summer, which would be my boy Manny Pacquiao versus Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia's actually got a fight coming up April, so obviously it wouldn't be till the summertime, and Manny Pacquiao just fought AB in January, so it obviously would be at least for about 4 months. So before I get into that, I want to go ahead and touch on something just so somebody doesn't think I'm being biased or anything like that. I am a huge Manny Pacquiao fan. I actually got a Manny Pacquiao shirt on right now. It's like one of four. I have a decent amount of shirts for Manny Pacquiao. He's my favorite fighter of all time. Now when I say that, normally I'll say this is my favorite boxer, or this is my favorite MMA fighter, or this is my favorite fighter in this weight class. But when I say Manny Pacquiao is my favorite fighter, I mean he's above all fighters in any style of fighting. I love him as a fighter. I love him as a person. I think he's a wonderful role model. I love his story. If you don't know his story, it's crazy. I mean, dude was, homeless at one point in the Philippines. He sold donuts outside of the donut shop he'd buy them from for 5 cents more just to make a profit, just to make a living. Before his father actually left and abandoned his family, he'd cooked his pet dog. And Manny Pacquiao actually ran away from home, finding out that his dad ate his dog. I mean, crazy stuff. Dude, he lived in a box. When he left home to become a fighter, he would live in a box before he ended up finally getting to sleep in the gym. They found out he was sleeping in the ring that had blood, sweat, and tears and all kinds of stuff on it from training all day long. He would sleep there. He's got an amazing testimony. I love it. And I mean, there's lots of reasons why I could say he's the greatest fighter of all time. Now, it doesn't mean that's factual, though. Now, what I'll say of the reason why I think he's the greatest of all time will be based on facts and statistics, but that doesn't mean he has to be the greatest fighter of all time to you, the watcher. Everybody's got their own favorite. Everybody's got their own argument behind who they think's the greatest. Like in the NFL, say the greatest quarterback or running back or safety or anything, like any position in any sport. And everybody should have a reason why they back that up. So for me, I mean, Manny Pacquiao he's amazing. He's got 70 fights. 61 of them are wins, 39 by knockout. He's got 7 losses and 2 draws. Personally, I would take 2 of those losses and turn them into wins. One would be the greatest robbery of all time, probably in boxing history, which would be the Jeff Horn fight. And then I would say he won the first Tim Bradley fight. I don't think he lost that fight. And in fact, lots of people were really appalled by the judges giving the win to Tim Bradley. And personally, the win against Tim Bradley, I mean, I can see why they gave it to him, because he was undefeated, up and coming. They kind of thought he's the next star in boxing, which, I mean, he was probably a B-plus fighter, no doubt. Great fighter, but not the greatest, and I don't think he was better than anybody at that particular time as far as in the weight class that is the welterweight division. So I would say those are 2 losses that should be guaranteed wins. I mean, Manny Pacquiao is the only 8-time division world champion in history. He's the only boxer in history to be a 4-time division weight champion in the original 8 divisions, the glamour divisions, as they say. He was the flyweight, featherweight, lightweight, and welterweight champion at that time, or in that time when there was only 8, so half of them he was the champion in at one point. He's also the only boxer in history to carry 5 lineal champions in 5 different weight classes. He was the lineal champion. Sorry, I couldn't get that out right. But yeah, man, I mean, like I said, there's lots of different reasons. It's just crazy. I love the fact that he's also got the warrior mentality. He's not ducking and dodging. He's not waiting for nobody to be older or waiting for the money to be right. He fights any and everyone, and he's always been that way. And I love his aggressive style of fighting. The only thing that's kind of a downfall to that is it's left him exposed sometimes he leads with his head, and he's been knocked out a couple times. But, you know, it is what it is. That's his style, and everybody has a different style the way they fight, and I like that style, you know, the aggressive, offensive. He's a great counterpuncher, too. Just very offensive type of guy. And, you know, he's actually really smart. If you look at the way he slips the jab a lot, or when he comes in with a jab and he'll come in, but he'll duck. I mean, he's great. I love watching him. He's a fighter that puts you on the edge of your seat at all times, because he's also been a knockout artist his whole career, you know? So you never know. Like, it could be any moment he's going to end a fight. And those are the best kind of fights in my personal opinion. And the whole Jeff Horn thing, I mean, dude fought in Australia. He was 3 Australian judges. I mean, the ref even came to the corner in the 9th round, to the Horn corner, and said, "I'm going to call this fight if you don't show me something." And Jeff Horn was elbowing, headbutting, holding on to him. I mean, you know, I personally think it was a setup by Bob Arum to pull the belt away from Manny Pacquiao, to give it to Jeff Horn so Terrence Crawford could have an easy belt in the welterweight division, to kind of crown him as the king of the welterweight division, or pound for pound, as they say, and I don't understand that. If you know, I could get into that a little more detailed if you go watch my Terrence Crawford versus Amir Khan fight video that I did. Good video, you should go watch it. But anyways, so like I said, those are 2 losses I would convert to wins. So to the whole Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia is, you know, he's had 36 fights, 34 wins, 2 losses, and those 2 losses came to Keith Thurman and then Sean Porter, who I think both are top 5 welterweights right now. So he's a great fighter. Personally, I see anything can happen in boxing, though. You know, it just takes one punch to change your career for the better or for the worse. So when I don't say like, oh, he's gonna win guaranteed. Obviously nobody's gonna win guaranteed. You never know. Boxing's that sport that could change in a split second. But I think Manny Pacquiao could take that fight. I think he takes it the distance and wins. Could he knock him out? Yeah. Could he get knocked out? Yeah. So obviously throw that out the window. I think he takes the fight the distance, and I think he wins unanimously. I think he could win 8 rounds. I think he'd go 8-4. Now Danny Garcia, and that's not a knock on Danny Garcia. It's just, I mean, we're talking about Manny Pacquiao, who is one of the greatest of all time. Whether I'm saying I think he's the greatest or not, I mean, he's one of the greatest ever. And even at 40 years old, he showed against AB that he's dangerous. And everybody, you know, you can knock Adrian Broner all you want, but he's still at least for sure a top 10 welterweight, and he's a very dangerous counterpuncher. He doesn't throw his hands enough, though, but I see him and Danny Garcia very similar in the fact that they're both counterpunchers. I think obviously Danny Garcia throws his hands a little more, which is what everybody criticizes Broner for not doing. But I don't think Danny Garcia is more athletic or faster than Adrian Broner. So, you know, there's kind of a give and take a little bit on this potential fight. So, you know, I think, like I said, Manny Pacquiao, I think he takes the W in that fight. But then again, you never know, because we've seen fighters from one fight look amazing to the next fight completely aged. You know, he could age between then and now, or between now and then. I don't know. There's one thing that I've learned as a sports fan growing up and just watching things over the year. There's certain athletes you just never count out. And Manny Pacquiao's one of them. I can't count him out. Until he proves me wrong, I'm not willing to say he's going to show up old. Like I said, he looked great. Another video that I want to do next is the Keith Thurman versus Manny Pacquiao. I don't want to give too many details in this video for that video. But I think you'll definitely get your money's worth with Danny Garcia versus my boy Manny Pacquiao. I think you'll be entertained. You'll be on the edge of your seat. You'll get a very offensive, aggressive fight. Danny Garcia, you know, he's a fun fighter. I like him personally. I think he's a good fighter. You know, he's from Pennsylvania. You know, Philadelphia, you know, I believe is where he's from, Philadelphia. I know he's from Pennsylvania. It's either Philadelphia or Pittsburgh, but no, actually it is Philadelphia, you know, which is one of the hearts of boxing cities, as it's so called in America, at least, you know, and it's got great history and it's produced great fighters, and he's one of them. So it'll be a good fight. So we'll see, you know, to be continued in a sense, because we don't know if that's the fight he'll take. There's lots of options. He said that he wants to fight Earl Spence and Terrence Crawford. He said he wanted to fight, obviously, Mayweather, which is a fight I really want to see before he retires. Danny Garcia, take Danny Garcia. He said he'll take any of the top welterweights. I wouldn't even mind to see him take on Jeff Horn. But if they fight, I want to see him fight in the Philippines or America. I don't want any more of that in Australia stuff when it came to what happened in that first fight. That just was absurd. But anyways, so we'll see what happens. If you get the chance, comment down below. You might disagree with everything I just said. You might hate Manny Pacquiao. You might love Danny Garcia, which is cool. I like him too. Or you might think he lost the Tim Bradley fight or the Jeff Horn fight, which the only way you do is if you're from Australia or you're a Jeff Horn fan. Sorry, guys. Jeff Horn's a wonderful guy. Actually, I think he should move up and fight above the welterweight division. I think he'd be better at like 154. But like I said, the channel and the whole purpose of my videos are for you, the listener, to come in, and you might agree with me, and that's cool too. I like to hear that, or like I said, it's vice versa, and you might not agree with me, and that's cool because you have the right to your opinion, and I like to see somebody else's perspective, especially when it comes to sports. So go ahead and hit that like, subscribe, tell your friends, let them see the video, see what y'all think. But anyways, as always, be blessed. Peace.